Good Friday evening, Southeast Texas. Welcome to 12 News Plus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaughn, and we're going to take an in-depth look at the forecast, the tropics, over the next 7 days. First off, for Friday night football, we think we're going to be okay as far as no rainfall, maybe an isolated chance up in the lakes area, but otherwise we'll fall to the mid-80s by 7 p.m. By halftime, should be around 80, probably the upper 70s to lower 80s, and then by the end of the game, looking at the mid to upper 70s. Again, light south winds throughout the game will keep humidities up as we go calm, particularly up in the lakes area this evening for those high school football games. Otherwise, today we saw not sunny skies, but partly cloudy skies and no rain across southeast Texas, and it's due to limited moisture in the atmosphere, confined to the lowest, we'll say lowest 6,000 feet across southeast Texas. Otherwise, right now, clear skies over at Sept, and that's going to be the case coming up tonight. Winds have been very light the last week or so, and will continue to be so. Okay, so yesterday was the anniversary, the 64-year anniversary of Carla. Tomorrow, do you remember Umberto, the fastest developing hurricane on record that struck our area early on the 13th of September? And of course, we remember Ike, that did all the damage along the coastline, particularly over towards the Bolivar Peninsula and over towards Galveston, with all the beach houses, caused quite a bit of flooding because it was such a large Category 2 storm making landfall. And then, of course, we don't forget Imelda. These are some notable storms to really adversely affect southeast Texas. Imelda producing that catastrophic rainfall, particularly over towards Sept and into West Beaumont on the 17th of September. And then who could forget, coming up on the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Rita on the 24th, as the storm made landfall over towards Johnson Bayou and Cameron Parish off towards our east. Little change is expected across southeast Texas from what we saw today through the next 7 days. Again, we may add an isolated shower or thunderstorm, but it's just not enough to create any meaningful improvement as far as the developing drought across southeast Texas, as rainfall deficits are approaching 3 inches now for just September. And as you can see, looks like little change as far as the forecast for the next 7 days. Looks like lows will be in the lower 70s and highs will be in the low to mid 90s. This will be running about 2 to maybe 5 degrees above normal through the next 7 days. As far as your allergy report, let's see if memory is correct. Tree pollen has gone back up to moderate levels. I know weed pollen has gone back up and is now at high levels. Grass pollen did go down compared to yesterday, and mold did increase, still remaining at moderate levels on your allergy report. So tomorrow here in the Triangle, we'll go about 92 to 93 with a light north and south wind and partly cloudy skies during the afternoon. That's my forecast. Modeling says we're going to get a 20% coverage of showers and storms coming up tomorrow. Well, maybe a 10% coverage. That's possible, but I don't think it's going to be as much as that. Like the temperatures. Otherwise, up in the lakes area, we'll go 94. Not expecting anything significant tomorrow except for partly cloudy skies, very light winds. And again, modeling going a 20% coverage. We'll see if that materializes, but Futurecast is going to show not much tomorrow across southeast Texas. Otherwise, high temperatures this time of year should be around 90, and we're going to be again above that through the next 7 days. And rainfall, we have what, a 10% on Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we're talking a few hundredths of an inch of rainfall when normally we should be picking up through the next 7 days. That's Saturday to next Friday, should be picking up 1.5 inches of rainfall. So that's why the rainfall deficit will increase. Looking at mostly clear skies currently on the Pro Roofing Concepts satellite and radar loop. Temperatures mid to upper 80s, at least at the airports, to around 91. Now we are watching some, we'll call it widely scattered to isolated showers over towards Toledo Bend and back over towards near San Rayburn. I think with the flow generally from the east, we'll keep those north of the lakes area. So I think we'll be pretty good as far as the games coming up tonight. Otherwise, across the state, you can see the cumulus field, how everything is rotating around that high. So everything is going to be coming out of the north or out of the east. So if you notice, we will be watching that high begin to break down after tomorrow. Still very isolated. This is what we're talking about, isolated, very widely scattered or isolated showers over towards Louisiana and Mississippi. So it does not look like a very promising forecast. If your grass is getting crunchy and you need rainfall, my best suggestion is to get those sprinklers out, because I don't think we're going to see anything significant. So in addition to that high in the upper levels, we have lots of dry air and a ridge of high pressure. This is the ridge of high pressure. Notice how everything goes up and then over the ridge, and then comes down. But also notice the northerly winds. This is fantastic for hurricane season. Oh my goodness, you just don't know how excited I am over that. Because as long as you keep the high, the Rockies, West Texas are over us, we're in good shape. You just don't want that high going over towards Atlanta or over towards the Smokies. That's where you don't want the high to go. So the high does weaken, but we continue to see a west to northwest flow in the upper levels. So if something was to get in the Gulf, it would be turned off towards the east, or it would get sheared apart if it was able to make it against that northwest flow. It's not going to happen. And with this short wave coming through, this may bring actually a little more dry air late next week. That remains to be seen. I'm unclear as to how much dry air will be transported out of the Midwest and I should say the Central Plains into East Texas. But that's a possibility coming up late next week and into late next weekend. I should say next weekend. We may get a little drying. So with that northwesterly flow and shear, we're closed for business at least through the next 7 days. I think 7 to 10 days. Now, ensemble modeling is trying to drag something into the eastern Gulf, and that is a possibility. Like I said, I think we're closed for business in the Gulf the next 7, possibly 10 days. We'll have to be watching this area maybe later in the 7 to 10 day range. Say next weekend into the following early next week. Could see something trying to spin up here. This is kind of a stretch, but because of the flow in the upper atmosphere, say something did come in from the Caribbean, it's probably going to go something like that. Maybe over into the north central Gulf, but it's not coming into the northwest Gulf. So don't be surprised in about a week we may have something to watch there. The other thing is in the Caribbean. See this brown? That is Saharan dust. And the lack of cloudiness. Look at this expansive area with the lack of cloudiness. That's dry air. So we're not going to make anything there the next few days. And this disturbance in the far eastern Atlantic gets a big fat X from me, because I don't think this is going to be an issue for us, as it will do. This wave here is basically going to go right through the hurricane center's cone and then turn. That's what's going to happen because of the upper level pattern. That's what ensemble modeling is showing. So I think we're in good shape, whatever this decides to do. You know, it may not go exactly this way. It may come something like that. It's just, when does this turn occur? Does it come quicker? Like some of the ensembles are doing that basically. So right now, I don't see any ensembles that bring it into the Gulf. And again, we may have to watch in the 7 to 10 day, that's after next Friday, for something trying to come in out of the Caribbean, but it's going to get redirected off to the north and east with the upper level pattern. So on the Gulf, we're looking at mostly smooth seas tomorrow, around a foot, so good boating conditions with a northeast and southeast wind at 5 knots, water temperature 88. High tides tomorrow at Sabine Pass at 5:01 a.m. and 11:14 p.m. Sunrise at 6:58. Sunset at 7:24. So our forecast tonight, clear skies, or at least becoming clear, close to 70 in the lakes as winds go calm into the low to mid 70s here in the triangle. Again, could be some very light patchy fog in outlying areas, not so much in the cities, but outlying areas could see a little patchy fog. Your outdoor forecast, here's the basics. As far as the forecast tomorrow, not going to go any rain. We'll go with highs in anywhere from the low to mid 90s. Heat indices should be mainly in the mid 90s tomorrow. The UV index will be very high at 8.4. So again, if you're going to be outside, you're not used to the sun, make sure you use the sunscreen because you can burn very quickly. Otherwise, north and south winds at 2 to 5 miles an hour are expected. Tomorrow we expect again partly cloudy skies, highs in the low to mid 90s across the board, and light north and south winds. And taking a look at your weather impact 7-day forecast, again, we should be picking up a good 1.5 inches of rainfall, and this is the usually wet European model, and it's showing 1/10 of an inch or less. So this is why we think that the developing drought will get worse at least through the next 7 days. Hopefully we can get some relief after that. But right now, I think there's the potential for some coastal showers, maybe a thunderstorm on Sunday, not so much Tuesday, possibly Wednesday, and with that disturbance coming in from the northwest, I went ahead and gave us a 10% coverage of showers and storms, so basically below normal rainfall. Partly cloudy afternoons, hot afternoons, highs low to mid 90s and lows in the lower 70s. So that's our look at our 7-day forecast. And again, looks good for the games this evening for the most part, as temperatures will be in the mid 80s, falling into the mid to upper 70s by the end of the game. And again, lots of clear skies outside. We reviewed that notable hurricanes that have struck at least Texas in September. Carla's anniversary, 64 anniversary, was yesterday. And then in 2007 was Umberto, the fastest hurricane to ever develop in the nearshore waters of southeast Texas. That's the anniversary tomorrow. Ike hit Texas in 2008. And then, of course, who can forget Imelda with the catastrophic flooding over towards Hampshire, Fayette, on into Beaumont. And then Rita, of course, was in 2005 on the 24th with Cat 2 and Cat 3 damage. Considered one of the strongest hurricanes to at least strike the area. Not a lot of change the next 7 days. We're expecting lows in the 70s, highs into the low to mid 90s. And again, looks like mainly dry weather conditions, highs low to mid 90s across the board, with lots of sun both in the triangle and also in the lakes area for your Saturday. Weekend looks good. We might see an isolated shower thunderstorm as we head on in to Sunday. But again, this is what we're watching up and towards the lakes area. I think they'll stay mainly north as the flow is generally taking them off to the west. Not a big deal. Don't see any lightning with these, so not expecting any rain delays or anything like that up in the lakes area. But again, very isolated shower and thunderstorm activity is mainly occurring across the deep south as high pressure will be building off to the west and southwest. But again, I think we're good in the tropics as we're looking at a west to northwest flow through the next 7 days, as the Gulf will likely be closed off because of the wind shear in the nearshore waters of the Gulf. Otherwise, let's quickly take a look at your coastal marine forecast for tomorrow, looking at mostly smooth seas around a foot, and then north and southeast winds at 5 to 10 knots. So tonight, becoming clear, lows low to mid 70s. Again, because of the light winds and moisture across the area, low-level moisture, could see some patchy fog tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow afternoon, we are expecting highs in the low to mid 90s with partly cloudy skies and light and variable winds, really. North and south winds, no more than maybe 2 to 5, maybe 2 to 7 coming up tomorrow in your weather impact 7-day forecast. Meager rain chances, and again, this may be fantasy as far as rainfall.